Icebergs are in no need of an introduction, so I shall spare your ears of any unnecessary explanations, but very few are aware of what a creepypasta is. A creepypasta is an internet urban legend, and they're usually horror themed, hence the creepy part. And the pasta part comes from a term called copypasta, where a story or message would be spammed across multiple forums when messages are sent to multiple people, like those annoying forward messages on Facebook. A redditor took the time to compile not all but a handful of popular creepypastas throughout the years into one iceberg, ready for someone like me to explore. For the sake of doing so, I won't be reading the creepypastas in this video since I already do that elsewhere, but I will give a brief summary of each story along with whatever extra lore surrounding said pasta and any explanation if it happens to have one. So I'd recommend kicking back, relaxing in the dark as we take a nostalgic trip down the creepypasta iceberg. People and children going missing is no new news, and there is a rumor that a mysterious man in a black suit is connected to a majority of these cases. On June 11, 2009, there was a paranormal Photoshop contest free for people to post their own unnerving photos in one place. Many participated and many entries were sent in, but one photo stood out like a sore thumb among the sea of images. User Victor Surge had submitted 2 black and white photos with an unordinarily odd entity lurking in the background. Both images came with very unnerving captions. The photos soon gained notoriety, leaving many to speculate what this monster called the Slenderman is and why does he abduct and mentally manipulate children. Tons of Slenderman related content had begun popping up all over the internet. More odd disappearances, and even more photos in an attempt to take a picture, including a few indie horror games. One of the most popular cases of a documented Slenderman encounter is the found footage Marble Hornet series on YouTube. Slenderman is described as a tall, slender male with long arms and legs as if they were stretched out on a medieval stretching device. He also has multiple long tendrils coming from his back. He also lacks any noticeable facial features, and it's safe to assume he only wears that black suit with the red tie religiously. Many reports claim he has the ability to teleport, as well as selective invisibility, allowing him to appear and disappear almost anywhere, but only visible to those that he allows to see him, which usually hints to said person being his next victim. Those that have tried to videotape or snap a flick of Slenderman came to the conclusion that he has the ability to corrupt the footage, resulting in tearing, pixelization, or even blank spots where he was supposed to be in the frame, ultimately resulting in improper photo documentation. Many past folklore tales tell of a creature similar to today's Slenderman, all known for preying on children and unexpected victims, like the German Grossman, an entity that stalks forests and kidnaps children that wander into the woods, and is said to store children until they confess their ill behaviors, and the Scottish black man that haunts footpaths and forests at dusk. And even though all the Slender hype has died down over the years, that doesn't mean he's ever stopped hunting. On May 31st, 2014 in Waukesha, Wisconsin, 2 12-year-old girls invited their friend to a slumber party after school. At the hours in which the girls were supposed to be asleep, they decided to play a late-night game of hide-and-seek, and they lured their friend into the woods where they ganged up on her and stabbed her 19 times in an attempt to please and quell the being that they called the Slender Man.
Both charged as adults with attempted first-degree intentional homicide. When investigators asked why they did it, they both had the same answer: Slender Man. Fortunately,
the girl survived. Another prominent figure in creepypasta history is a man by the name of Jeff the Killer. Jeff is described as a serial killer with a bleached white face, black round wide eyes, and long black hair with a shiny red smile. He always wears the same clothes: his blue denim jeans, old track shoes, and a gray hooded sweatshirt stained with the blood of his victims. His preferred method of killing? Stabbing and slitting the throats of his sleeping victims. He prefers sleeping victims due to their vulnerability and peaceful-like state while they're sound asleep. A summary of Jeff's origin story is as follows. He wasn't always a monster. At first, he was just a kid in a new neighborhood. He and his brother were forced by their mother to go to a new neighborhood welcoming party, and that's when shit hit the fan. Jeff got into a fight with a group of kids at the party, resulting in gasoline and acid being spilled and ignited on his face, and another boy being stabbed and sent to the hospital. Jeff's brother took the blame for the incident and was sent to a juvenile detention center, and due to the mental and physical trauma of his wounds and the incident that took place, Jeff had a manic episode at his house, resulting in him killing both of his parents and escaping before authorities can get to the scene. One of the many but few and obscure phenomenon where reality seems to glitch, such as clones, doppelgangers, and Mandela effects. On May 2019, a 4chan user uploaded a picture that caught the attention of many. A photo of this room with a caption stating, "If you're not careful and you no-clip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the back rooms." Many that flock to the picture claim to have been there before and have a vague sense of doing so, or some sort of nostalgic feeling. Many have theorized that these back rooms can be accessed through dreams and visions, but others claim that there's much more difficult way of achieving access to these rooms, which involves clipping through a glitched area. The internet is home to many cryptid figures, one of them being Siren Head, a 60-foot tall humanoid figure with 2 sirens for a head. It is said that Siren Head spends most of its time stalking least dense populated areas where its prey cannot escape easily, either being woods off of nearby highways or sometimes even the suburbs. The creator of Siren Head is a Canadian horror illustrator named Trevor Henderson, or better known by his screen name Slimy Swamp Ghost. He posted this image on his Tumblr page, but that the internet went wild. Trevor claims that Siren Head is not only quick and intelligent, but is actually the static physical form of a supernatural entity. Siren Head is also known to screech numbers and words out from the sirens, deafening those that fall victim to such a fate of encountering him. Have you ever heard of the photo with the power to kill? Such a photo with this ability has been surfing the waves of the internet for quite some time now. Some say as early as 1992. The photo's name is smile.jpg, and it's a Polaroid scan of a Siberian husky with a very toothy human-like smile. Off to the left of the dog, there is a darkened red hand reaching out towards the camera. Many claim that this hand belongs to the devil himself, inviting the viewer into hell. Though there are many copies of this image that don't share the same ability as the original, there are few that have laid eyes on the original photo and lived to tell the tale, but their mental states have not been the same since. The infamous Sonic creepypasta and fan game of the creepypasta that started off its own unique category of .exe games, Sonic.exe is a story about a Sonic fan that purchases a second-hand copy of his favorite childhood Sonic game on the Sega Genesis. But they come to the realization that this game is everything short of the original game that he remembered playing as a kid, starting from the demonic Sega on startup and the bloody Green Hill Zone background, alongside a Sonic with bloody red eyes wagging his finger. The player then mentions starting off as Tails instead of Sonic, and that there were no animals or enemies on the first level, and that the entire thing was flat. At the end of the level, Tails encounters Sonic, that grants Tails the blessing of a 5-second head start before he is chased down and ultimately killed, giving us this historical jump scare. A 6-foot-tall humanoid creature with white pale skin that walks around on all fours and has 2 black voidless eyes and a mouth that when open exposes rows of massive sharp teeth. It tends to stalk its victims from afar until it is ready to strike. Before striking, the creature waits alongside the victim's bed while he or her sleeps. Those that have survived rake encounters have said that the rake is capable of inducing terrifying nightmares on its victims. There have been documented encounters of the rake dating as far back as the 12th century, one of which is a mariner's log stating, "He came to me in my sleep. From the foot of my bed I felt the sensation. He took everything. We must return to England and to never return here again, at the request of the rake." A post on Facebook went viral with this picture that many have called Momo, with a caption with a user begging for help saying whoever called or texted the number alongside this post was going to be met with extremely graphic and horrifying images. Those that have had the courage to text the number mentioned that they were sometimes sent messages retaining personal information that only they knew. Others have also mentioned texts about harming themselves and even others. The Pokemon franchise is no stranger to dilemmas and conspiracies, like the infamous Den-O Senshi Porygon episode incident that gave many kids in Japan seizures due to the flashing colors on screen. While a specific town in Pokemon Red and Blue is home to 2 other Pokemon conspiracies, Lavender Town Syndrome and the Lavender Town Tower. Lavender Town Syndrome is summarized to be a case in which the frequencies of the Lavender Town theme in the original copies of Pokemon Red and Blue, when played at a high volume or through headphones, was giving children seizures, and some have reported bleeding from the ears. Game Freak has since resolved the issue and no case has been brought to the public eye. The Lavender Town Tower, located at the center of town, was once the burial ground to many a Pokemon that fell in the battle of the original Pokemon Great War. In the Pokemon animated series, Ash meets a Cubone along the way and learns that his mother is one of the Pokemon that died, and her soul has been wandering amongst the tower since. The Cubone is eventually reunited with its mother one last time for a piece of closure. There's a fan game based on this called Escape from Lavender Town that involves the player to escape a seemingly normal Lavender Town until the player tries to leave the game, in which they can't because the game actually hijacks the player's computer, preventing the application from being closed. There is a lost SpongeBob episode that aired once completely on accident that was meant to be a joke amongst the creators of the show. The episode revolves around a depressed Squidward that was going throughout his miserable day throughout his life and performing at a clarinet concert only to get booed off stage. Eventually he gets home, he sits on the edge of his bed and begins to cry while disturbing imagery flashes on screen followed by wailing screeches. Squidward then looks up and stares directly at the camera, staring with his eyes a blood red with tear droplets of blood running down his cheeks. There is no original footage of the episode on the internet, but there are a handful of recreations available here on YouTube. Many have claimed the story to be a myth. That was until one day an episode of SpongeBob aired and it actually teased an Easter egg of Squidward's face exactly how the Squidward suicide creepypasta described. An old Minecraft myth that used to haunt the early players of the Golden Dawn era of Minecraft. Herobrine was first documented on August 31st, 2010 in a 4chan post with an image and a caption explaining how this mysterious figure had been stalking and conducting strange activity around the player while they were playing in their Minecraft world. It is said that Herobrine haunted everyone's Minecraft world back in the early days and was actually Notch's dead brother that he had intentionally coded into the game. Notch neither confirmed nor denied this claim, and at the time Mojang would include removed Herobrine at the bottom of their patch notes for quite some time. A few mods were created and centered around this Herobrine mythos, as well as infamous Minecraft machinimas and series back in the early days of YouTube. The Creepypasta Wiki is the original home of the creepypastas. NES Godzilla is a lengthy but critically acclaimed creepypasta. Its story is about a user and his haunted Godzilla game that he bought for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was originally written by Cosby Daff and posted on the Bogleach forum on December 4, 2011. As mentioned before, the story was very well written, but super long. But it provided very accurately detailed in-game sprite screenshots to go along with the immersion of the story. On March 12, 2017, a YouTube horror miniseries mimicking a Let's Play style was started and focused around a main character named Paul and his playthrough of an obscure PlayStation game called Petscop. Along the way while he plays the game, he discovers that the game is actually linked to his past. The Taker of Kidneys, the story of Eyeless Jack, was originally posted on 4chan on June 7, 2010 by a user named Armin, detailing an encounter with an entity called Eyeless Jack. The entity had attacked the man's friend and removed his kidney and brutally attacked the man. It is said that the Eyeless Jack looks like a male humanoid in a black hoodie and also wears an expressionless blue mask that has no mouth or nose. It is also said that black ooze drips from the eye sockets of the mask, and that while removing his victim's kidneys, he can skillfully sew them back up perfectly, along with having the ability of tremendous stealth. Many are aware of the old 1980s government CIA operations like MKUltras and the AIDS attack on the people of Tuskegee. There is talk of an arcade cabinet that is linked to the mind control studies of MKUltra by the name of Polybius. Legends about this game arose around the early 2000s, and many claim that the game existed in 1981 around the Portland, Oregon area, and was part of the government psychology experiment. Those that have played the game say that the gameplay is very similar to both Space Invaders and Geometry Wars with its rail shooting and geometric shape aspect. They also mentioned that the game was capable of inducing psychedelic and addictive-like effects to the player after long periods of playtime. The game was said to mysteriously disappear, and there have been no traces of the original arcade cabinet since. There is mention of a Canadian local broadcasting station that airs low-budget TV networks targeted towards younger audiences. To unsuspecting parents, the channel and its shows seemed harmless at first, until it was unveiled that the creator of the network had been running the shows from his cellar and using his characters to bring children down into his cellar, where he would do God knows what to them. Luring them with fan mailing gifts, foolish parents sent their kids to their doom. The story was originally posted on 4chan on September 9th, 2012, and recalls the events of a child whom recalled watching said TV channel back when they were a child and the most memorable year of their life, 1999. Another creation of Trevor Henderson, Cartoon Cat was posted on his Twitter in 2018 and bears a very similar resemblance to the Smile Dog creepypasta, except less dog and more cat. It is said that the cartoon cat attacks anyone that is nearby or near his lair. Tailsdoll is a creepypasta about a secret unlockable character in the Sonic racing game that is believed to be a creation of Dr. Eggman's that is modeled after Tails and powered by a Chaos Emerald in his head, similar to the connections Metal Sonic has to Sonic. The Tailsdoll's first appearance was in an old Sonic comic strip, and making several other appearances in multiple creepypasta stories, but the most prominent one being The Curse of the Tailsdoll. The story starts with two friends that had received a Sonic racing game for free at a game store, and upon starting the game up, strange events had started to occur. Tails was on screen and the in-game track Can You Feel the Sunshine began to play in reverse. Upon completing the second in-game race, the words Challenger Approaching appeared on screen, followed by the image of Sonic being ripped apart and maniacal laughter playing in the background. They then unlocked the Tailsdoll and the TV began to shake, causing the boys to panic and break the TV. Russian Sleep Experiment is a creepypasta detailing a sleep experiment started by Russian scientists on prisoners of war, and it was posted on the Creepypasta Wiki on August 10, 2010. The experiment involved locking the prisoners in a gas chamber for an entire month, while periodically filling the room with a nerve agency that prevented the prisoners from sleeping, all while being under 24/7 surveillance. The prisoners were granted their freedom if they were successfully complete the 30-day task. After a few days, the experiment went haywire, and the test subjects began to tear at their own flesh and attack each other. Trying to subdue them, they sent in armed guards, and even they were no match for the sleep-deprived men. A series of pre-recorded messages uploaded on YouTube that contain hidden messages within them. The series was started by Chris Straub, and the first upload went up on October 30th, 2015. One of the many Mario creepypastas involves the idea that deep within the Mario 64 game code is an AI that slightly changes the game for each person who plays it, appealing to their subconscious in ways they cannot tell or comprehend. A Lost Simpson episode is based around the Simpson family being killed. Any mentioning or questions regarding the Lost Dead Bar episode have been either removed or shot down by the creators of the show. A super low-budget pirate show that used marionettes as characters that originally aired sometime around the year of 1972. Very few people recall watching the show when they were younger, and as a result, not much of the show's history is on the internet. Laughing Jack was originally an imaginary friend that took the form of a clown, belonging to a little boy. Before being abandoned, he was a colorful tan clown who wore a bright red wig and a long cone-like nose. 13 years later, his appearance changed drastically, becoming more monochrome and almost demonic looking. It is said that Laughing Jack is a supernatural being with dark magical powers, and can teleport and turn invisible instantly and mutilate anyone at will. The Midnight Game is an ancient pagan ritual used originally to punish those who commit atrocious crimes. It is advised that no one play it, as summoning the Midnight Man can lead to one's death. The point of the ritual is to summon a black entity called the Midnight Man into your home. He can only be summoned around the midnight hours, and you have to survive until the morning without provoking the man at all or allowing him to find you. Mr. Creepypasta is a creepypasta YouTube channel that uploads creepypasta readings almost daily that you can check out here on YouTube if you're interested. Username 666 is a creepypasta about typing the phrase username 666 into YouTube's search bar engine and refreshing the page a few times and seeing what happens. A video uploaded on YouTube on November 25th, 2009 with a backstory in the description describing a classic black and white cartoon featuring a looped animation of Mickey Mouse. He was walking alongside several buildings accompanied by eerie piano music playing in the background. The video eventually cuts out and an image of a demonic Mickey Mouse begins to cry out in an anguished scream before cutting out to black. Strange posters have been popping up all over the world with the face of a man and a caption asking if anyone has seen him or dreamt him before. And if so, there was a website listed with information regarding what to do next if you happen to do so. Many across the internet have claimed that they have actually seen this man in their dreams, some more than others, and that they believe this to be some sort of dream world entity that visits them while they sleep, while others believe it to be another case of dream character pareidolia. Another Pokemon creepypasta centered around Lavender Town. In the original Japanese versions of Pokemon Red and Blue, the sprite of a reanimated corpse was originally intended to pose as some sort of boss battle at the top of the Lavender Town Tower. They eventually scrapped this idea and never followed through with it, but some claim that they managed to access this portion of the game and that the boss battle resulted in a definite loss no matter what the player tried to do, and is followed by a game over screen with the buried alive sprite holding the trainer's corpse. Normal for Normal People is a creepypasta about a user that surfs the web and finds archived posts and images of strange and graphic sexual activities on the deep web part of the internet. On April 3rd, 2011, a My Little Pony fan game was posted on Equestria Daily called Luna Game. The game and story surrounding it is heavily inspired by Sonic.exe, and it is unknown who exactly made the game. The Man with the Upside Down Face is another urban legend created by Trevor Henderson. The Upside Down Man is described as an entity who loves causing pain and death and feeds off the negative energy of others. He can sneak around unseen and is said to be extremely dangerous. Trollpastas are a form of creepypasta stories, but are more focused on the cliché and comedy aspects rather than the spook factor. There are an infamous amount of trollpastas online available for you to read at your own enjoyment. SCP-173 is one of the many subjects contained in the Secure, Contain, Protect facilities around the globe. It is some sort of idol sculpted out of concrete and finished off with Krylon spray. Its most popular appearance is in the PC game SCP Containment Breach, where a D-class prisoner must survive and escape a lockdown, taking effect in a containment facility. It is known that if line of sight is broken with 173, it will move quickly as if teleporting, and if it can get behind its victim, it'll proceed to strangulate them and snap their neck. Mario is a creepypasta about a Super Mario World hack where Mario turns evil and commits suicide. The story was originally posted on SMW Central Forums by a user named Adam. The hack containing this game is available for download somewhere on the internet. I Hate You is a story about another Super Mario World ROM hack. There was a game released by Carvina Corporation in 1989 called Kill Switch. It was mainly a horror survival focused, similar to the Resident Evil and Silent Hill games at the time, but it was a point-and-click adventure game. It is said that only 5,000 copies of the game existed, and after being played, they were known for corrupting and becoming unplayable, meaning you could only play the game one time and one time only. Also meaning you weren't allowed to let your friend play your copy of the game and let them experience it for themselves. Annie96 is typing as a chat log between two users, a girl named Annie and her male friend named Luke. Annie complains about hearing strange noises outside her home and not being able to sleep because of it. Luke then begins to poke fun at Annie, and she then pleads for him to stop because her parents are out of town and she's currently home alone. Luke continues scaring Annie until her curiosity began to get the best of her. She looked outside her window towards her garden where the noise was coming from and began to cry, texting and questioning Luke how he was able to text her and be out rummaging in her yard at the same time. Luke then began to panic, texting Annie that whatever or whoever is outside her home wasn't him and that she needs to quit joking around. Annie also begins to panic, telling Luke that she isn't lying and that she's also beginning to hear footsteps in her house, and it's also approaching her room upstairs. And that's when the messages stop. To keep things simple, I'll be covering the last 6 layers in a future video. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of covering this Creepypasta Iceberg, and I hope you'll join me for part 2 when it releases in the future. In the meantime, if there's a creepypasta you feel I should cover and shine more light on, drop it down in the comment section below and I'll review it on my Saturday Creepypasta readings. If you enjoyed, I appreciate if you could drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed your stay. My name is Lost Disciple, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.